Hello, everybody. This is Tesla Today. Appreciate everybody joining, and we have Jeff Lutz joining us as always. Welcome, Jeff. How are you doing? This is very exciting. I'm excited. So I am now going to go to Austin. We've been telling folks now that our Cyber Bros show is going to be kind of leading into Farzad's big Tesla Bull Stampede show at Clive Bar. So I'm going to be physically there. I'm going to be hosting that panel with Alexandra, and then you and Christian and Xander will be up on the screen. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great thing for Cyber Bowls.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so first bit of news that just came out about an hour ago is that they're talking about Tesla. Elon Musk is supposed to have a meeting with the Mexican president this morning. That's all I got from this article. They just talked about, could be good, it could be bad. We don't know. What's your quick thought on this?
Usually, I mean, when you're speaking with, first off, politicians of this level, their schedules are usually published. And this is probably where this came from. I would say if these two are speaking, it's either to finish the deal or to kind of go back to the drawing board. I'd like to think that they're on their way to kind of finishing it up. There's a lot of momentum with the IRA here as well, and a lot of reasons to do this and actually open up the EV market in Central America as well. So I mean, I think there's a lot of different reasons to do this. The question is what's going to be in that factory. Is it assemblies of some sort? Is it what's in that factory? We don't know, but we just know Tesla needs more capacity.
Okay, good. So the big topic that I really wanted to chat with you about today is the Pierre Ferragu one. Model 2 is critical to the continued success of Tesla. And what they did, his investment firm, is they actually went and took a look at 7 different ICE cars, built it out and did some kind of a deep dive look in them. And he figured out a lot of things about this. So this is what's interesting. Now, based on that analysis, how the ICE cars compared to the Model 3. So we looked at how the ICE compacts compared to the midsize ICE sedans, extrapolated the comparison between Model 3 and the ICE midsize sedans. And that's how they came up with what they think is going to be the Model 2. So the quick note is 50% shorter, 30% lighter, 25% smaller battery than Model 3. So this table shows that what could a Model 2 look like? 30% lighter, 25% smaller battery than Model 3. So this is the comparison of Model 3 and Model 2 here. And they're saying this is how they expect the size to be and why they think it's going to be lower weight, lower size. And here's how they compared the BMW 3 against the Model 3. And so by comparison the BMW 3 and the Honda Accord to the Model 3, that's how they say, okay, well then, if we look at the smaller cars, Toyota Corolla and Toyota Yaris, here's the Model 2. And this is where they come up with their differences. What do you think about this assumptions and their model that they're doing?
Yeah, I think it's a good model. I mean, he's showing us a model, and he's basically saying the physics side of this, which is size and weight, are going to have drive a downdraft on total pricing, or total cost, which makes sense. And that goes all the way through the non-BOM too. You think about logistics, you think about a number of other things. Getting the mass and size down is a big deal. And also process elimination is, I think this all goes back to when you hear Elon say the factory is the product, that's a really profound statement. What he's saying is the processes involved, the amount of capital and labor are actually what can make or break the unit economics, which will then make or break the scale of a product line, in this case, EV. So I believe what Tesla's doing here is they're solving the growth. They're not solving I want to have a PowerPoint presentation, I want to show a flashy car. They're doing the unsexy thing of solving the unit economic side to enable scale. And this is what this is. But my other quick take on this is I believe Tesla's been working on this for probably 6 years. And the reason I say that is they shipped, the Model 3 design in 2017, which started probably a couple years before that. And they finalized that in the 2017, 2018 timeframe. And I believe right then and there, they jumped onto and started working because the Y was really an adaptation of 3. I believe they've been working on this for a number of years. So I think Pierre's model is good, and as an analyst, you kind of want to model something, and you don't want to be too aggressive because you don't want to just be wrong. I would like to think that if Tesla achieves these numbers, it's a big deal from a unit economics perspective, and they're going to be in a very good position. I would like to think that they're going for something a little bit more aggressive.
What do you think, Jeff? Like, so what Pierre did was they took a look at the Model 3 and how it compares to the other ICE cars. And then they said, okay, if the Model 2 is going to be this much less size, less weight, less cost, this is how it will compare to the ICE cars and its competitor. But they're comparing it against the old Model 3. You know, it's like 2018, man. And it's going to be improved soon. You know, so I don't know. They haven't even, doesn't look like they've taken that into consideration.
Yeah, when you do comparisons like this, where you do these models, what you actually want to do in these situations, and I've done these before in another industry, is you actually want to progress where you think the competition is going to be, and not just go off of. So what you would want to do in that case, if you're comparing yourselves to yourself, like you would probably want to a different product, you'd probably want to progress that product forward in performance and say, look, you're going to be here in 2023. Let's see if we can leapfrog that. Same on the external competitor side too.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep moving. There's a lot to cover with Pierre's concept here. So the other thing he said here was that he expects the Model 2, as of course, that's just a convenient way to call it for now. I agree. It's 37% less expensive to build than the Model 3. So he said that's 37%. We heard Elon say 50% less cost to build. But still means a 21,000 cost of goods sold at scale.
Yeah, and I'm in kind of my thoughts on this. I put a tweet out. I was somewhere in the 17.5 to 19K range. And by the way, this is launch cost. This is one point in time. They're going to drive this down over the lifetime. They're going to, just like what Tesla does every few weeks, they're going to be rolling in improvements. They're going to be going to their supply base and saying, look, we announced this product. The orders are there. The volume's there. You don't have to worry about your factories being filled up. You're going to be at great efficiencies. We want a little bit more cost out of you. So these costs are a point in time is my point, and Tesla will continue to drive them lower.
Yep, that's a good point. Very good point. So here's their analysis. The Tesla Model 3, I think I've made it too big there. So it's 12.5 thousand cost reduction, and they think it's going to be half driven because it's just smaller size, and half because of the specs are different and innovation.
Like I said, I think they're going a little bit higher than this, but if they land here in the beginning, that is, again, that's a great start.
Okay. And then they said that the Model 2 is actually put in the right spot compared to the likes of a Corolla. So gross margin, they still think is going to be 20% versus a mid-single digits for the Corolla. So this is a very good positioning for Model 2 against the ICE equivalent. So this is the mini hardtop at 30,000, the Toyota Corolla at 20,000. And so with Tesla Model 2 fitting in right in the middle, 27,000, that's a good positioning. And then still high gross margins. So here's their roundup is they think they can maintain a gross margin heading towards 30%, even with the Model 2 and FSD, because of Model 2 and FSD both increasing the mix. And then at the 25,000 price, the Model 2 addresses 80% of the car market. That's what we've been talking about. That's such a huge price. That's going to be the market that's going to sell everything. And so this is the way Tesla is going to exceed 12 million units, 400 billion auto revenues in 2030.
Yeah, and this is the part of the equation all of the analysts want to hear, which is a lot of the analysts believe the 3 and the Y peak out at some number per year, some number between, the 2 million this year and maybe something a little bit higher, maybe up to 3 million. Tesla believes that's much higher, actually. And again, these are, I think one of the problems is some analysts do a good job of doing kind of multi-mode, multinodal analysis where they're kind of looking at different points in time and stringing this out. Some are just like, the cogs are what they are. And like, well, that's how it works in real life. So the 3 and the Y are going to continue to come down. and Tesla's still going to be able to be pretty competitive with them. What's actually going to be nice about this car, I've seen some of the bear arguments online today, which is, okay, when you introduce a car like this, what does it do to the 3 and the Y? Well, to answer that question, let's look at the S and the X when the 3 and the Y were introduced. Yeah. I mean, you're going to continue to grow your business as long as, again, Tesla focused on unit economics and function first, and then solve for design in the PowerPoint show. I believe this unveiling has been, it's been delayed almost. They've just been, again, trying to solve for unit economics. And again, you look at the Ford and GM said that they will be somewhere between 1% and 5% gross margin in 2 years with EV. So there's a lot to be said for the planning work and the design work to get the unit economics right. And again, I do think it goes back to designing the product with the factory in mind and almost making the factory more of the product.
Exactly.
I believe what we're going to see in 48 hours or so is going to be along those lines.
And agreed.
And I also think this could transcend multiple segments inside of Tesla. This is not only a low cost approach this is not only the lower tier approach. I believe when these learnings are in place, the next premium sedan, and SUVs design will be on this platform.
Okay. So how soon do you think this is Charles' question? How soon do you think before it's produced?
Well, we don't know what it is. If we're talking about this compact car, I believe there's going to be 2 steps. I believe there's going to be these principles applied to the Model 3 and a fairly significant reduction in the Model 3. And I believe that product is going to be imminently ready for production. And those are, I think, what we're seeing on the roads today, testing with the covers on. And then I believe the compact car will be ready for production within a year.
Exactly. I don't think that they would announce something that's going to take them much longer than within a year. Right.
Yeah. Well, they've got a history of doing of otherwise. So we may have egg on our face in 2 days, but sure. I believe they're going to be talking more, Herbert, about the platform and the transformation in the factory, and then the products will kind of fall off of that.
Exactly. I agree. Another good question from Harry. So the Tesla community is going to ignore, Monroe. When I did my interview with Corey, he talked about that he does not think they should do a $25,000 car because there's going to be no margins. He obviously knows what they're talking about, but what's your reaction to that?
I don't think you do that by kind of scraping and peeling from Model 3. And if you have that kind of thinking in mind, then you probably wouldn't find your way there. But if you do something fundamental from a process perspective, and you do something many things fundamental from a design perspective, where you actually have technology advancements that remove wiring, that remove process steps in the factory, then I think the paradigm shifts. And then you all of a sudden you have a car that has COGS between 17 and a half and 19 and change in total cost. But you wouldn't do it in conventional thinking. You wouldn't do it. And this is what's happened. The ICE auto industry, inherently low margin, inherently low operating margin. When they go and scrape and try to put out a product at those lower tiers, it can really hurt. So I think that's the conventional thinking. I don't think Tesla is going to put this into production until they've got the unit economics figured out.
Love it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that they're going to revolutionize the production line. And when you look at the Investor Day, that was the front and center thing, that we're going to show you our most advanced production line. And then, oh, by the way, we'll show you Gen 3 platform and the other things. So,
yeah.
So this is a conversation that's been happening quite a bit with us, which is what is your 2023 earnings per share forecast? And a lot of people have just bumped it down, and the street for now is at 2023 is $4. And so Gary Black was asking James Stevenson, is your 2023 non-GAAP earnings per share still $7.50? And James said, yes, it still has $7.50. That's huge. I've been saying $7 because I'm being very optimistic, and of course, that's borrowing economics, the economy. But what is your what is your projection at this point?
Yeah, I'm a little over 6. I think the street tends to overshoot on things. I think they've overshot to the downside, and everybody kind of not follows along. But I mean, I think that's what's happened. I also think there's real things that have changed, right, in terms of Tesla's pricing and so forth. But I think the thing that the street really struggles with is how do unit economics change quarter on quarter, and when you're Tesla versus GM or Ford have mostly fixed factory capacity footprints. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's not transitional. It's not like they're trying to fill up factories and they've got a kind of a cost structure they're trying to work down. Tesla is in that position. They opened 2 brand new factories, and we saw what just happened with Berlin going from 2K a week in October to 4K a week, this past week. That's doubling your capacity inside of in 4 months. And as every step that they go between 4 to about 10K a week, what they're doing is they're incrementally taking the 4-wall factory cogs down. So the short answer is I think analysts struggle to model Tesla's cogs improvements both in factory and components as they scale, because the rest of auto is not scaling.
Yeah,
and those prices are more stagnant.
We want the analysts to have lower estimates, and so we're very happy that they're saying $4. And I'm just being optimistic, and you are too at $6, and I'm at $7.
Okay. And this first quarter is going to be telling.
We do have to just address this because this has been an issue that's been discussed quite a bit. Is there brand damage? And the most recent survey shows that Tesla overtakes Ford in brand loyalty award for the first time in 12 years. Ford has won this. And so the electric vehicle brand, which is Tesla, retained U.S. customers who returned to the market for a new car last year. Tesla owners stayed loyal to Elon Musk. Many controversies. So this is the S&P Global Mobility that recognized Tesla's Model 3 and Model Y on Monday, both for overall brand loyalty and most improved loyalty. It was a repeat winner for a number of areas. So not going to go through all of this, but this is another article that's talking about it. This is Sawyer talking about where Tesla was better. And I'll show the chart. I think this is the better way to do it. Look at the chart. Boom.
Yeah, this is a progression. So this is a point in time now where Tesla has overtaken Ford. And what you're going to see is Tesla as they enter more of these segments and they get it right. I think, I think there's going to be adjustment period once they enter the pickup segment. I think, you just don't go in and you're great. I do think it's going to be compelling. But I think this is just a point in time. And this is they're on a path. They're on a trajectory for this to continue to improve. Why? Because of the experience they've designed, from all the way from the purchase experience being a few clicks on the web, to your service experience being all handled within your mobile phone, and then of course the driving, the experience when you're behind the wheel that you get in a Tesla, you don't get in other cars. So this is I used to be chief quality officer of a Fortune 100 company, 2 of them, and Net Promoter, which you could gather from this in terms of willingness to recommend, is a big deal in the auto and consumer electronics industry, and they're on a great path. And by the way, when we had Gary on the show, this was one of his big concerns about Tesla.
Yep.
It was the brand damaged. And
yes,
this is a great data point that says not only is it not damaged, it's actually improving year on year.
Yeah, he's been repeating that quite a bit. So you were the chief quality officer for a very large Fortune 50s. We can't mention who that you consulted to, but that's pretty cool. So when you see this list, right, you can see that, like you said, they're going to win everything except for this one here. They'll never win this one. Overall loyalty to dealer.
Right. That's a scratch for.
We're not going to win this one, but oh my gosh, this is great. Overall loyalty to make, ethnic market loyalty, most improved make, highest conquest percentage, alternative powertrain loyalty. Okay, that's great. So that's good news. Then that's just a few more things here to look at. So this was pretty cool. So you think it's a big one. So this is Cybertruck. They're talking about this. They're the patent. So this is an ultra hard cold worked steel alloy for Cybertruck production. They looked at the patent for it, and Elon said it's a brand new metal. Why are you saying this is a big deal?
Because what Tesla focuses on function and form. And if there aren't the raw materials or elements that solve the problem that they want to solve, they go out and invent it. Other companies don't have a rocket company attached to their hip with metallurgy experts that have 25, 30, 40 years industry experts experience from multiple companies and multiple industries. Now, do auto manufacturers work with Alcoa and work with Steel Dynamic? Yeah, of course they do. But in terms of like developing your own alloys and rolling out the patents for them, Tesla figures out what they want to build. And if there's a roadblock in the way, if there's blockage in the way, they go and figure out down to the elemental analysis of it and how to solve it. That's a big deal.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, we're going to close down this broadcast, but if you in the audience, please stay. You're going to see that refresh to the next broadcast, which is just me and Jeff. I'm going to be asking about scale. Okay, the Investor Day is all about massive scale, and Jeff is the expert in kind of supply chain, distribution, and manufacturing. I want to ask his opinion on that. So please stay on the line and join us.